Hello and welcome back to the channel. Siril1.4 beta is now officially released, so I hope you're all having some fun processing with the new version of Siril. Today we're going to do a little bit more processing. I did get asked in one of the comments about processing the nebula. So we've finally managed to get our Svbony SV220 dual narrowband filter out, and we've managed to take some images, an image of the North American nebula. So we're going to have a quick run through of processing that. So I'll have a quick rig update as well first, because there's a couple of changes and a few more bits that I've been buying. So yeah, welcome back to How's the Astro. Okay, so first of all, very quick rig update. As you can see, we've lost the shower cap on the back. Some stuff's been rearranged a little bit, but nothing too dramatic. The reason we've lost the shower cap is because we have now fitted this CYCK plate on the bottom. So that's that end. Everything else is pretty much the same. Still focuser, we've got his USB hub up here. And his main USB cable. What has changed, we have now got a Melee Quieter 4C. Used it the once to do the North American nebula. To be honest, I still need to play around with it a bit more before I give it a kind of full review, but it did everything fine. I've also bought the Svbony SV241 power splitter and USB hub. At the minute, I did want to get it on the rig, but I'm struggling for whereabouts to kind of mount it, because what I wanted to do was kind of mount this and this together like that, and then put them here. There just isn't quite enough room, so I need to figure something out for that. And this works perfectly fine as it is as well. And then the final thing is we've got the VT Omen. I think I call it a Flash Speed 600. This is a 499 watt hour power station. Trying to go mobile. How's the Astro is trying to go mobile. I'm trying to be able to pack up in the car, drive off somewhere, get set up, image all night, without the need of a power source. And that seems to fit the bill. I did some testing with it yesterday, and with the camera cooling full, all the software running, all the cameras connected, the focuser connected, everything, it was drawing around 36 watts. For that 36 watts with 90% battery, it was saying I had 10 hours left. So I think that's excellent, really. But so we'll do a bit more of a full review if we ever do, when I do get to go out and have a camping session. Right, let's go on with this processing, shall we? First of all, let's talk about the SV220, which will be used in this particular image capture. It is what's called a dual narrowband filter. What do we call dual narrowband? Well, as you can see, there's two main bands which are passed through the filter, and they're very narrow, hence dual narrowband. So what does that mean? Well, from these peaks, it means that the full width half max is 7 nanometers. So it's basically 7 nanometers wide. Now, it's probably hard, you can't really tell what exactly these peaks are on here. So underneath they do give you a very nice little graph with the actual figures. So what it's designed to do is to let through light, which is primarily oxygen 3 and hydrogen alpha. And oxygen 3 happens to give off colour at a wavelength of 500.7 nanometers. and then hydrogen alpha will give off 600 light at 656.3 nanometers, and then you've got a maximum of 7 nanometers which covers either side. So what does that mean to us from photographing nebula? Well, a lot of nebula, the light coming from nebula is they're called emission nebula, and there's often a lot of oxygen and hydrogen, so we want to capture the light from that. And it just so happens that the hydrogen alpha sits in is a nice shade of red. That's where that is. And then the oxygen actually is more of a cyan colour. Now if you mix blue and green together you get cyan, so basically on a one-shot colour camera this light is picked up by the red filters in the one-shot colour camera, and this is picked up by the blue and green filters. And what this is very good at doing is eliminating light pollution, and it also means, as it is now when there's no astronomical dark, you can still image nebula. Right, on to actual processing. So we're on Siril Beta 2 now. I think before, in the last video, I used the development version, but literally the day after I posted the video, the official beta version was released. Well, now we're on Beta 2 now. So there's been an update with some bug fixes and some other bits and pieces. They're also moving Graxpert around, which I'm not 100% sure if I like, but I'll show you that shortly. But as always, what I want to do first of all is set our project folder, and I've created this project folder SV220, because all these images I work on in here will be from taken with the SV220, and our first image was Caldwell 20, which is the North American Nebula. So first step, select this project folder so we know whereabouts we're working. In that folder we have all our biases, darks, flats, lights, exactly the same processing as what we did before, and we will let them we'll run our Siril scripts, and it's not multiple nights this time, this is all in one night, so we can just run straight the OSC pre-processing and let it process, and that'll come back in a couple of minutes with our final stacked image. So there we go, it's processed and it took 32.8 seconds, so not bad on my PC. So let's open that up, and here we have it, results 111400. And again, a great deal of what looks like nothing, but believe me, there's a lot in this. So first of all, as with everything, we use dithering, so the camera moved ever so slightly every 5 subframes in this case, because we're taking 5-minute subframes. So if we do an auto stretch, you kind of get to see what's there a little bit, but to really see kind of the edges and whereabouts we can crop, if we go to histogram mode, it overstretches it, and we can kind of see what we can get away with cropping and not cropping. So again, we're just cropping off the edges because we don't want to take any of the dithered sections. What I mean by dithered sections, because the camera moved ever so slightly, there'll be edges around, all the way around, so we just want to kind of crop those off. There we go. So we can move back to the auto stretch. Now there isn't a lot of light pollution in this, but there is a little bit of a gradient in it still. So I still think we need to use Graxpert to a bit of background extraction. So what they are doing is they've still left the Graxpert interface here, but you'll know if you open it, it's depreciated. Already it's been one beta version and it's depreciated. And what they've done is they've moved it to a script. Now, all these scripts aren't normally installed by default. The Siril catalog, the Siril catalog one is, but the rest of them aren't. And as you can see, we've also got Cosmic Clarity in here as well. Now you can install scripts. If you go over to the hamburger menu and preferences and scripts, you can see that there's a load of scripts, and you can just tick the ones you want to install. So I've installed OHC processing without darks, OHC processing with background extraction, so it removes the background on each subframe. We've got Cosmic Clarities in here now, Graxperts in here, and statistical stretches in here as well. Statistical stretch is quite good, but we'll leave that alone for this episode. So let's run our Graxpert script. And if you've never run it before, it will install a load of components and check that you've got Python installed and do a few other bits and pieces. But eventually, you will get this. So what we want to do here is just want to do a background extraction. We'll rack up the smoothing a little bit and run the latest model. Yeah. Use GPU acceleration. Yeah. And then we can apply it. Okay, so we've got our background extraction, and again it's Graxpert, it does it in exactly the same way, so we can close that, come back out of it. I mean, that looks pretty decent already, but I think we can kind of get a little bit more out of it and brighten it up a little bit maybe. Okay, so we've got our background extracted. What we need to do now is a color calibration. So because we're going to use SPCC, we need to plate solve the image first. Again, because we are stacking in Siril, all the details of the right ascension, declination, and the focal length and everything else is stored in the FITS files anyway, so we can just hit OK, and that will plate solve for us. And then we can move on to spectrophotometric color calibration. Now, this is what settings we were using previously because we had the Svbony UHC filter installed. There is no filter listed for the SV220, and that is because it is a dual narrowband filter, and Siril has got a special narrowband mode. So basically, as I previously said, the red channel is the hydrogen alpha, so that's the 656.3. that defaults to 28 in Siril, and then the bandwidth is 7 nanometer. The green and the blue are exactly the same because it's a cyan colour effectively, which is a mixture of green and blue. So that wavelength is 500.70, same for blue, and again 7 nanometers wide. So we can hit OK, and there we go. Those are the results. I think those graphs are a little messed up at the minute with Beta 2. They certainly look different to how they did in Beta 1, but I have checked and the colour balance comes out about the same, so I still think it's working. I just think the plots are broken slightly. So what can we do now? Well, so now we've got a couple of stages of processing done. Let's just make a snapshot of whereabouts we are. So let's call it C20 for Cornwall 20. Let's call it CC just to say we're colour calibrated. There we go. So that's just saved just in case we have any issues or anything during the next part. So if we go to Cosmic Clarity Sharpen, again, if it's the first time you've run it, it will install a few bits and pieces and then ask you whereabouts your Cosmic Clarity executable is. But we want to do stellar and non-stellar, so we want to use both. We'll do the stellar amount by 0.6. I always think 0.6 seems to be good, and the non-stellar 3 seems to work for me normally. And we'll clear the input directory as well. Just so it will clear the directory before it puts the file in. So we can hit apply, and that will run off and take a few minutes while it's doing the processing, but you do get like a, it's not exactly a progress bar, but you can see that's actually doing something. So that is the sharpening complete, and you should be able to even flip between the before and after. So that's the before, that's the after. I think that does add a little bit of, stars become a little bit tighter, and this becomes a little bit clearer, more detail in it. I do like cosmic clarity, I must admit. Okay, so we shall run it through a denoise as well now, but we'll use Grexpert for it. So we want a Python script and Grexpert because they're depreciating the other way. And here we go. So straight into denoising. Let's do about 0.8, I think. That's usually what I usually do. And hit apply. And that'll go ahead and give it a denoise for us. Okay, so that's the denoise finished, and I think that looks pretty good. Okay, it's time to give it a bit of a stretch. So if we go to, I'll put it back in linear, and go to stretches and generalized hyperbolic stretch. Sometimes see this, I think it's a bug somewhere, or some bit of software is pushing a value slightly out of kilter. I tend to hit rescale all values, but I need to log that one to see what's actually happening. So first of all, I want to find our symmetry point. So if we maximize the histogram here, we need to decide where to put our stretch point. Now previously I've been putting it on the left hand side of the image, and if we do that and give it a stretch, you'll see that it brings a lot of the background with it, which I'm not sure if that's kind of the best thing to do, but it's, you kind of have a play. So I mean, I've processed this before, so what I tend to find best is if we sit right in the middle of it now, it proper stretches everything out equally, and we can have a little bit more of a play with it a bit later. So let's bump the stretch up, drop that so we can see what's actually going on. I think about there is where we want it. Now let's adjust the local stretch factor so we're not pulling the background up as much. I know some people, and I've had a comment before, where they just sling it over to the left, but I don't think that helps you. I think you have to kind of gauge and feel what looks right and what feels right, and sometimes just slamming the local stretch intensity doesn't seem to work. So I think about there looks fairly good. Okay, so we'll apply that, and now we're going to pick an area where I want to try and get a little bit more contrast out of, put that as the symmetry point, start applying a little bit of a stretch, and you'll see we're kind of brightening up some sections, and this section here is dropping, so it's dropping some of the background, brightening up some of the other areas. And all we're trying to do is try and bring some contrast out in these dust lanes. Don't need it too much, we just want to try and bring out some of the dusty sections here. Some of the bits are probably getting a bit bright, so we can drop those down a bit. Some of the bottom bits might be getting a little bit too high. We can intensify the local stretch a little bit. What I'm trying to do is not blow this part out here because it's looking a little bit. There we go. Yeah, you kind of have to watch what's happening, but then keep an eye on the graph and just look around what's actually happening in the curve, so to speak. Bring that down a little bit more. Okay, something like that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of some of the blackness, so make it a little bit darker by dropping the black point. And again, we can go all the way till we start clipping, then come back a little bit, apply that, and then I think we just need to be a little bit brighter. So if we pick on the right hand side here, just give it a little stretch just to brighten things up just a little bit. Think about that, looks good. And then a little bit of saturation in there as well, just to make the colours pop out a little bit. It's all very personal how you stretch an image and where you want it to come out like. It's a very personal thing. Not everyone's going to like your taste in the way you do it. You might not even like mine, but I don't think that's too bad. I think that's pretty good. You've got plenty of contrast here. You see all the dark dust lines. You can see the Cygnus wall quite clearly, and the scorpion tail here. It all looks pretty good to me. So that is the very basics of how we process a nebula image in Siril 1.4 beta. I'd say there's a million things you could do. You could do star removal and put it back in and all that kind of things. I like to keep the stars in because I think it looks a little bit more natural. Sometimes I will have a go with star removal, but I because of the focal length and the camera I'm using, I don't think the stars overpower the rest of the image too much. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, everybody, and we will see you in the next one. Ciao for now.